When it chimes in, just try, 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 just try.
Hello and welcome to the very first Dancing Lines podcast, where we interview experts, partners, developers, customers, and fans who use ServiceNow platform. I'm your host, Noel.Nathan, and along with me is my co-host, Hichem.Guemiri.
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the first ever Dancing Lines podcast.
Today, we're excited to sit down with Raymond Beijerling. Raymond is a managing director of Platformation, a ServiceNow partner based out of Netherlands, with lots of experience, and he will tell us all about it momentarily. So, without further ado, Raymond, are you ready to get dancing?
Absolutely. Very happy to join your first podcast ever.
So, Raymond, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, well, actually, I come from a ServiceNow customer. So, the first time I ever was introduced to ServiceNow, we were doing a replacement project because one of the products we were using for our ITSM was end of life. So, we needed it to replace it. And then, well, as many customers do, they create long lists, short lists, and this helped us in making a decision. And then I got so very enthusiastic about the platform that I actually got a little bit hooked to it.
Nice. That is awesome. So how long have you been dancing on the ServiceNow stage?
Well, I've been counting, and I think it's over 5 to 6 years already. Seen a lot of different companies. First, yeah, like I said, started as a customer myself, and then later on started implementing it at other enterprise customers.
So you must be bringing a very unique perspective, being on both sides of the fence, so to speak, being as a customer and now being as somebody who's implementing it for customers.
Yeah. So I've seen the real pitfalls of being a customer and trying to put everything on the same platform and building it out, and then realize, oh, I have to do an upgrade. So that's stuff I take with me on customer projects I now do, of course, is how can we stick to out of the box, how can we make the upgradability as smooth as possible.
Awesome. We're gonna dive deeper into that, but let's start with this question. What made you focus on ServiceNow? Like, what made you enthusiastic about the platform?
Yeah. So when I first saw the platform, I didn't realize it actually. So we were very focused on implementing it for IT service management, and we did see it had a very mature capabilities for the ITSM suite back then already. But after a while, of course, we saw that we could implement different specific applications. That I worked for a managed service provider, so we did a lot of data center services, and we could do stuff like vulnerability management. We could put this in the product. And because there were some point solutions out there, but they had too much and therefore were a little bit too expensive for our needs back then.
That's awesome, Raymond. So Platformation is known for the applications. I believe you have about 8 applications on the App Store today, on the ServiceNow App Store. Can you tell us a bit about the applications that you are providing for free today to ServiceNow customers, and also about the latest applications you have developed for the DevOps gaming? If you can touch on that and how those applications can help ServiceNow customers elevate their implementation in the platform.
Yeah, definitely. So when 4 years ago Platformation was started, we immediately started the company implementing platforms at customers. So doing that back then, facility management was not a big topic at ServiceNow. So our first ever app that we created was the Room for You app, which made it possible to do room reservations in an application in ServiceNow. So we actually built out those topics. So we created a lot of different applications around the topic of facilities management, while doing more and more different projects in different areas of the platform, we also realized that we could build out things like a plan board. So every service department within the enterprise has to do with operational planning of their engineers, right? They're doing projects, working on incidents, problems, and it doesn't matter whether it's a facilities incident or it's an IT incident. It's always the customer looking for a solution how to combine the project work with operational work. So that's why we created the plan board. Yeah. Then proving that we could really build out applications, customers saw that and gave us the trust for their specific business applications. So we actually built a number of specific business applications that are not published in the store, but like for one of our customers, long-time customers already, we built out a safety base. So they have manufacturing plants all over the world. And of course, they want their engineers or people working on those machines to be safe. So they do regular checks of all the stuff on the plants and are there people working safely.
So how long it took you to, so one thing that we see customers asking for and wanting is the rapid development on the ServiceNow platform, where an application like this most of the time takes about, at least a few months, 5 to 6 months. How long it took you on average to build this application for this customer using the ServiceNow platform?
Yeah, so we always go for minimum viable product. So I think the safety base was around 2 weeks.
That's amazing. One major customer here in Quebec, basically by cutting off the time on building the database, building the workflows, building the forms, by leveraging the ServiceNow platform, you definitely cut the time of any project by half. That's my opinion and my experience.
Yeah.
So based on your experience, Raymond, what do you think the customers today should be aware of? Can you tell us more about the failures and maybe some successes along the way that happened after you had to readapt the initial project?
Yeah, so just to stipulate what we've learned is that back then, I think the safety-based application we built on Dublin, and we now realize that ServiceNow is coming with 2 releases every year, and they bring in so much, let's say, basic functionality that you could reuse in your apps that, you should be very aware of what ServiceNow is working on and how you can use it in your future projects or within your projects, because most of the time all the projects are done phased, of course. So don't try to put everything in the first phase, because probably while you're doing a rollout of an application, you're going to also have an upgrade of the platform, and it's going to bring you even more capabilities to bring in your application.
Thanks a lot, Raymond, for this insight. The idea of the podcast, and you are the first guest today, when we met a few months ago in Amsterdam around dinner, you told us about an unusual way you got into ServiceNow. I know you touched on this quite a bit before, but you actually have a cooking background. So can you maybe, tell the audience how you went from cooking to IT and, take us around that journey. And today, obviously, the reason why we connect with you guys in Amsterdam is that we have the same culture, and if you can touch a bit around the culture as well, that Platformation is trying to put in place using the ServiceNow platform and using I would say the Dutch culture as well in that.
Yeah, so my background is pretty strange where I ended up now. So I started doing hotel management, and I got into the hotel management systems.
Okay.
And I had a lot of fun working in the hotels and working with the systems, and I was very passionate about everything that's got to do with the IT. So actually the software vendor asked me to join their team, and this is how I rolled into IT. And I believe this is really the key thing is you need to be passionate about stuff you're doing. So you don't always need a correct background in education or stuff like that. But if you have the right passion, you're willing to learn and overcome everything what crosses your way.
You know, one of our top administrators today, I actually hired him when I went to Best Buy. You have no idea what Best Buy is. It's an electronic shop where you go to repair your PC. And you know how I am, a bit crazy. And I was all over the map. And the guy was so helpful. I looked at him and I said, do you want to go away from here and learn a cool platform? He's like, yeah, I want to. And he's one of our best, administrative developer today. You're right. I mean, it's all about having passion.
Yeah, so I also, with my background, I compared it to that all we are giving is service, right? So, and it's exactly the same with the applications that are in ServiceNow or built on top of ServiceNow. It's all about service.
Right.
And when you do hotel management, everything is about service-minded. So we always look for people that are also very service-minded, helping out customers in sometimes ways that they advise customers not to do stuff.
So in that regard, have you started implementing, do you see any success in implementing today's the CSM application of ServiceNow, the customer service new application? Have you had any stories to share around this, any successes?
Yes, we did that a couple of times. Well, one of the things we'll have to be very keen on is to understand the customer business, right? Mm-hmm. So from a, let's say, sales and marketing perspective, people always try to put them in horizontals or verticals, but it's really about the customer itself, to understand what kind of business do they do and what are their customers and how do they want to treat their customers. And this leads to understanding what components you need to implement. And it's all about conversation then, talking a lot with your customer or with our new prospects about what they are doing and what they want to achieve.
Well, definitely when we look at customers, the thing I like about ServiceNow personally is I always say, if everyone was using ServiceNow, then we would definitely have world peace. Because it seems like people who are into the platform, they enjoy it. If you remember the first time we met in Orlando, we had multiple people from different backgrounds and, having fun together. And sometimes I think ServiceNow transcends, or the usage of it transcends, religion, political background, colors, and height. So
I remember that.
For those of you who are just listening, who have not met Raymond, do you want to share how tall you are, Raymond?
I don't know it in feet, but almost 2 meters.
2 meters. 2 meters is about 7'2", and Nathan is what?
I'm about 5'8", so
5'8".
I definitely look up every time I sit next to Raymond or stand next to him. I'm always looking up, so it's quite the height you got there, Raymond.
So Raymond, last time we talked, we were in Amsterdam sharing some sushi. You told us that your platformation today is located in Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands. You have projects in the US. And you have implementations in France and in England today. What's the commonality between implementations in all these countries? And what's, in your opinion, one of the mistakes that regardless of country, regardless of language, people always do make? And how today with the listeners we can maybe help with that?
Yeah, so while we're doing all these kind of projects in different countries is because we consider ourselves a little bit as ninjas. So we come in with a small team and conquer the customer's projects. And some of the customers out there are looking for subject matter experts on specific ServiceNow topics who know how to use, or as we call it, unleash the power of the platform, right? So we come across some customers that have very specific business needs. or are trying out, let's say, the PPM modules. And we've built out some assets which we could reuse in those kind of projects, which makes us very successful. So bringing in a lot of value in a short time. That's basically what we do.
So today your expertise, or your main expertise, Platformation, is known for performance analytics, as my wife calls it, PA, and she doesn't know what it means. And if she hears this, she's going to hate me. And you have also a big expertise, you're a major player around the ITOM, the IT operations. Where do you see the evolution of ITOM today, as far as, cloud management, the new features being released, orchestration, discovery, service mapping? Where do you see it going, in the next 6 months to a year?
The customers we do projects with around ITOM really see that they need to first populate a proper CMDB to have, let's say, common ground and common information of which they can start the automation part. And with automation, of course, you can really go for efficiency and lowering your total cost. So, yeah, a lot of the projects start with implementing CMDB configuration management and then quickly work out to orchestration automation. And there are a lot of good solutions out there, but yeah, you need one point that orchestrate. Sorry.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, some thoughtful insights from our first guest in our first ever podcast, Raymond, about the ServiceNow platform. So, Raymond, thank you very much for taking the time. I know we finally delivered on our promise after 6 months of telling you that we're going to launch our podcast. So thank you from us.
It's all about just doing it.
And I just wanted to say there are sometimes, the Dancing Lions is a podcast meant to bring you about the ServiceNow platform stories. So there are two kinds of people in life, and one of them is those who dance, and then there are others who just watch people dance. And with Raymond, he is definitely a dancer, and trust me, you will not miss him on the dance floor. With his height, he is just as tall as LeBron James, so you will not miss him. So Raymond, any parting words from you for today? I'm sure we're going to have you on our next podcast many times in the coming future, but I just want to give you an opportunity to say some parting words for this podcast.
Okay, well, as you said, I'm a dancer, and I'm dancing on red shoes, right? So probably in my gray suit, exactly. Probably people can recognize me next time they're in Knowledge or one of the Now forums. They can just walk up to us and get connected. All
right. So thank you today again, Raymond. And that's it for us from today, folks. So stay tuned for our next episode where we bring you #SPS, ServiceNow Platform Stories. And if you want to reach us, you can contact us at hgcnow.com. That is hgcnow.com. Or if you want to be a guest on our show, we're happy to have you.